Welcome back, everybody. We're finally back to working on my Z32. It's been a minute since we worked on it, and now it's back to being super hot. I ran into a little issue. I tried to take the car out for a drive. Well, more than just one issue. So, the first issue that I ran across was that I was having a problem with the fuel pump. So I'd go out for a little drive, and maybe a few minutes into trying to drive it, it started to cut out on me. It turned off a couple times. One time it didn't turn on. I left it off for like a few minutes, and then it finally turned back on. But if I wasn't holding the throttle, it would turn off on me. So that turned out to just be the fuel pump being bad. I mean, the car sat for like a year without driving it, and before that fuel pump, who knows how old it was. It was just one that I had lying around from cars that I had worked on. So I already replaced the fuel pump. I didn't record any of that, but I still have a few more things that I need to do with that fuel pump. I needed to get a longer piece of submersible hose so that it can go all the way down to the bottom of the fuel tank. So I'll still be showing you guys that eventually, but at the time I just wanted to try and get this thing going so that I could drive it. But yeah, we missed that deadline because now it is, sorry, it's 110 right now, but I think yesterday was like 115. So that was one issue. The other issue was, once I got the fuel pump figured out, this thing broke on me. So I already kind of have it disassembled. Get the shifter off, and we can see here this little rubber bracket broke on me. I'd like to say that I'm just super strong, but probably just an old piece of plastic. And previously, like with other cars that I've had, it seems like this always happens to me. This issue rarely happens to other people that I know. Like, I don't know how this has happened to me so many times already, but we're gonna get it fixed. Every time I've done this, I've cleaned off the rubber that's on there. Let's see if I can show you. I cleaned off the rubber, and then I weld a little piece of metal, like a flat piece of steel, across it, and then add like a little spacer to it to make this solid. They sell a piece that makes it solid so that you can get rid of this. You don't have this issue anymore. But I don't really feel like buying it because I've done it before, so I know that it works. So that we don't have this floppy guy going on anymore, we'll get this taken off, and I'll show you guys how I'm gonna fix it. You guys can replace this piece with an OEM one. You can get the solid mount that gets rid of this piece, and then it goes on top of the transmission. But I don't really feel like buying that right now, so we're gonna do it this way. Okay, so there's that. Also, one other thing that I forgot to talk about was that I still have to figure out where I'm gonna install that fuel filter that I still need to get. So maybe in this video we'll figure out what we can do about the fuel filter, because I really need to get this thing up and going again. Even though I probably won't drive it until it cools off. We got at least another 2 months of like really intense heat, so who knows. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, so I had found first this piece of metal here. I already had some holes in it. I hollowed this one out thinking that it was gonna work. This did not work because the hole needs to be like off center a little bit. It's not perfectly in the center, so that one didn't work for me. I don't know what I was thinking when I was doing that one, but it did not work. So I found another one. I already have this one in here. It's really snug in here. Let's see, barely fits. So this, we need to go in the car and kind of put this in there and see if we can measure where on here it needs to go, where I need to drill a hole. This is part of that old bushing. I'm gonna try and reuse this. So I'm gonna try and drill this where it needs to be. Hopefully, if not, we're just gonna drill a hole and use something as a spacer. Maybe this same piece, but I'm gonna have to do something about it. But anyways, this is gonna get tacked in here. Then I'm gonna go measure it and see where I gotta drill. And that should be it. It really is. It's not too much to it. It's just you gotta make sure that you get it where it needs to come out through. All right, so let's see if we can measure this up, kinda. Luckily there's like, you can see there's like up and down movement, so you got some room for error there. Let me see how I can do this. Maybe I can scratch it or something with the shifter, with that stud for the shifter. Okay, so after I smacked it a couple times, you can see right there is where it was hitting. And then if you look at it from straight up, you can see that it's not really center. So I guess we'll try and do that. Maybe, hopefully it works. If not, I'll just have to make the hole a little bigger. But let's get the heck out of this car before we die, because oh my god, it's hot in here. Damn, boy. Okay guys, so here's what I came up with. Doesn't look that pretty. Hopefully at least it lines up. My welds look like doo-doo, but they've always looked like doo-doo and they always hold. Let's just hope it's in the right position. Put this back in here. See if it fits where it's supposed to fit. There it is, guys. Like nothing ever happened, except now it's solid. We don't have to worry about this breaking unless my welds break, but that won't happen. That my welds look like shit, but they never break. They've never broken, but they do look like doo-doo. Now we can put the rest of this stuff back on so we don't get any of the heat, or if we had an exhaust leak or whatever like that, we wouldn't get any exhaust or any weird smells coming through here. And I do believe that if you use the other ones, you're gonna have to build something to make it work so you can seal it up, because the solid one doesn't let this sit on there, I think. But I wouldn't really know, because I've never used that solid one before. I've always done it this way, just from what I've seen in other videos and forums and stuff like that. All right, one last piece. Put this back on, and then we can put the rest of the plastics, the interior trim and stuff back on. Whoops, that's not how it goes. Literally says arrow forward. I could never get this thing straight. It's always off to the side a little bit. There it is, guys. That's back on. Feels good. I mean, probably it feels like stock, but now it's solid. There's no movement up and down at all. I'm not sure if you guys remember me saying that I'm a truck driver now, and I recently got put in a manual truck. The clutch in a car compared to a clutch in a semi is like a completely different animal. Like this feels like nothing. Feels like I'm not pressing anything. Almost was thinking right now that there was something wrong with the clutch, because since now I'm daily driving a semi, that clutch is hard. All right, guys, now that we got that thing figured out with the shifter, we can worry about figuring out what to do with the fuel filter. I already have the car jacked up, and I already kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to try and show you guys real quick, and hopefully, oh, this thing doesn't burn me. It is hot as hell today. It is, let's see, 1:12 today, so I'm going to try not stay out here too long. But you can see right there, that's where all the lines come through on the driver's side. Got some of the HICAS lines, a brake line, and the 2 fuel lines. And those right there, 2 fuel lines. The one with the spring clamps, I think that's the return, and the other one is the feed. So we're gonna figure out what we can do right there. Some of those lines right there are gonna be gone, like the HICAS one. I think there's an emissions one. I don't need that anymore, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna have to figure out what fuel filter I can use right there. So anyways, before I do any of that, I'm gonna start the car up just to make sure that it still starts up, because man, this old girl's dusty. So I already got another battery, so I'm gonna hook the battery up and start her up and see if everything's still good. Hopefully no misfires and no weird noises. Alright guys, it's idling good, but felt like it stumbled a little bit on acceleration when I was giving it throttle. Let's see if we could, you can see that shake. Could just be because it's been sitting for so long, but the idle is good. Idle's perfect. I love how that sounds. I don't know about you guys, but I've always liked that sound. Not the ticking, but the exhaust always sounds really good on these twin turbos. Alright, well that's gonna be it for now. I'm just happy that it's still running okay. I just hope this heat calms down soon, because me and this 112 degree plus weather do not get along anymore. I'll just leave that unplugged for now, and we're gonna have to figure out what kind of fuel filter we can get. Okay, so we ended up getting one from Amazon. I'll just open this package and show you what I got. This thing is super small. I mean, it's good enough for the space that we have, but it looks tiny. Hopefully it filters enough. I guess we'll find out, right? So there it is. It looks pretty small, but I mean, it should do the job, I hope. It is 5/16 barbed, just what we need. Yeah, let's hope it filters enough. It said, I think, 30 microns of filtration, so it should be good enough, but it just seems so small compared to the factory one. So let's go get this one put on and see how it goes. So we're into the car again, and we got to get this to fit between this line and this line, which shouldn't be too difficult. And then I'll see what I can do about these other ones that we're not going to need, because I don't know if I'm just going to cut them off right here and then worry about them later, because they go all the way to the front of the car, and I'm not too worried about that right now. I just want to get the fuel filter in and put this cover back on. That way we can get the car running and drive it around. So I'm gonna put this on and I'll show you guys what it looks like after. It's probably gonna be pretty dark. It's starting to get dark on me now, but at least I can show you before I bring the car down. All right guys, so there's the filter. What I had to do is this line, I had to bend it back a little bit, but it's not touching anything that's gonna be moving. This right here is the frame. That's not gonna be moving at all. So not that it's touching it right now, but it's not near any parts that are gonna be moving. I just hope it works. It seems so small, but I mean, supposedly it should work. At least for this year, if it works, it'll be cool. Next time, once I decide to go through all these lines and get rid of the Hikers ones and the old emissions lines, maybe I'll decide to put something bigger in. But yeah, well, hopefully it works. And see, now we could just put this cover back on and it's all good. It's not there, nothing happened. Nothing ever happened. So I'm gonna put this all back together. It's dark now. And put the car back down and probably start it up tomorrow, see what happens. Oh yeah, one more thing. I noticed that this comes loose, so you have to make sure to tighten this before you try and turn the key on and build fuel pressure again. It's gonna leak from right here. All right guys, it's the next day. Now we're gonna start up the car and hope for no fuel leaks from that fuel filter that we just installed. Oh, let's see what happens. Nothing yet. There we go. I'll let it warm up a little bit now that we don't have the idle air control valve. The startup's a little rough, but once it's warmed up a little bit, not even that long, maybe like a minute or less, the idle stays at about 900 to 800, I think. There we go. Yeah, it stays like about 900. Idling pretty good. Fuel pressure looks good. So this is that whole piece that was for the evap system. I got rid of that. And the rest is gonna be for the HICAS. And whenever we do the delete, then we'll start getting rid of all those fuel lines. Well guys, it seems to be running a lot better now. It doesn't have that little hiccup on throttle, so it just needed to run a little bit more. So for sure we need to wash this thing. I'm still trying to source a dash, and I just noticed that my brake lights are staying on, but I don't know if it's the little grommet on the brake switch or my light switch, because I already noticed that this was having an issue and the brake lights just like came on their own. So luckily I have another one. I have quite a few parts for these cars, but yeah, I know we're gonna have to replace this for sure. We're gonna have to replace this dash if we can find one. That thing just got way worse. And some seats, because these have been like this since I got the car, but I hate leather interior, especially for these cars. Anytime I've had the leather interior, I just get annoyed from it. So I'm gonna see if I can find some cloth seats, the dash, and then replace this thing. And if any of you guys are local here to Arizona, Phoenix area, I need a front bumper. If you guys got a front bumper, NA or TT, it doesn't matter. I can make the NA one work, but whatever you guys got, if you guys got one, I'm looking for a bumper. Well guys, that's gonna be it for this one. Next one, we're probably gonna wash this thing, deep clean. Maybe if we get a front bumper, install it. And I'm gonna have to get this thing registered again, because it's probably been a year since it's been registered. That way we can go for a drive. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.